I'm Victoria Sauer, Marketing Manager of BrightCom, and here with me is our CEO, Bob McCandless. Today we're going to talk a little bit again about the telepresence and video conferencing, past, present, and future. And again, we're going to talk about the past of sort of video conferencing and where it all came from, how are we getting here today. So a couple more questions I have for you. How does the evolution of live to pre-recorded, sort of with a broadcast delay effect in radio and television in the early 1950s and 60s correspond to the evolution of video conferencing?
Okay, well, television originally was all live. Everything was live, and of course that followed radio. Early radio was all live because they didn't really have a way to record it, store it, and play it back. So one of the great things about their early radio shows was that it wasn't like this on YouTube. If we screw this up, we can edit it and change it and do it again. On radio shows, you didn't have that option. So they had a different quality to them that they're still on a lot of times. The recordings of the old live shows, when they started to go into the recorded moments, you can now still get a little bit of that flavor. But really, a lot of that live, early broadcast stuff is gone because it was great. It was different. It's more like a video conference, and some of that fear in early television, really translated. A lot of people didn't want to go on live television because it takes a very confident person to do that. And I think that's one of the challenges with video conferencing today. It takes a very confident, not too concerned about how they appear or that they might say something wrong person. And even then, it's still dangerous because even though it's live, it can be recorded. So it's even worse. It's a live show that's being recorded. So I think video conferencing has a challenge here that we need to figure out a better way to do kind of that, what I would call near live, kind of idea that we can second guess ourselves or back up or do things. I mean, even email. Email is kind of a live technology today. When you email, the email kind of goes off, and if you didn't want to send that, we've all had that experience.
Yes.
Thank God now we've engineered the whole email recall technology. And we kind of need that same thing in video conferencing. I'm not sure how to accomplish that, but I think that for a lot of things today that we communicate with video, kind of this recorded near live ideology is a little better. And again, I talked about Barack Obama's live broadcast last time. Those broadcasts are not actually live. They're near live so that they can edit them or change them if they need to, if something wacky was to happen. And that's kind of the idea. I think we need to find a way to do that.
Well, I know there's certainly a lot of feedback recently. Workers not adopting to desktop conferencing or video conferencing because they feel uncomfortable.
Thanks, Forrester.
they feel uncomfortable, maybe like a lack of privacy almost. And it's true. They're not prepared. Like I've experienced that a couple times where I'm kind of video conferencing, right?
The thing rings and boom, you're on screen.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's sort of a interesting concept right now. People are, even though everyone loves it, for certain different applications, there's still that hesitation because I'm on camera and this could be recorded. Yeah,
I think for sure that the kind of the idea of desktop conferencing, which is really what Forrester wrote about, that their research showed that people weren't ready to adopt it. Of course, I also take a little exception to that. If you were to look at the adoption of the cell phone, which is one of the fastest accepted technologies in the history of all technology, in the early days of the big brick cell phones, if you were to go up and ask the average person, do you want a cell phone, they would say, absolutely not. Why would I want people calling me wherever I am? Why would I want to carry that thing around with a bag and a power supply? It's ridiculous. That didn't seem to slow down the telephone, the mobile phone very much. And I don't think it'll slow down the acceptance of desktop video conferencing or mobile video conferencing. That being said, I think one of the greatest places for conferencing is in the conference room and the telepresence suite. And I think those other kind of conferencing adjuncts, desktop and mobile, are kind of ways to feed into those. And I think home conferencing is going to be a very big business where you want to talk to people that you know and trust. I think that that's more of it. It's more of an I know you, I trust you, I'm used to you. You would have no issue walking into my office and talking to me.
Right.
So what's the difference doing it on a desktop video conference?
Right.
It's more with people you don't know or you don't expect to suddenly come bursting into your office. It's a little bit of an intrusion.
And in the conference room, it's more prepared and planned, so it kind of makes more sense
exactly.
at this point in time. So, Okay, great. So let's go talk a little more about telepresence. Let's go back in the history of telepresence. So there's many claims on who envisioned the first telepresence type of technology. Where do you personally experience, what was the first time that you personally experienced telepresence in your life?
Well, I think, I'd probably have to say Star Trek. You know, the holodeck thing was kind of, I think, for most of us, the first, you know, vision of that. There were some science fiction books I read back in the, you know, late 70s and the early 80s, because I really am that old, that kind of painted that picture of the shared environment where you come together. I think some of the early stuff that was done by Jaron Lanier and some of the early virtual reality stuff had that flavor to it, but it wasn't, it was more of a virtual reality and not a, you know, I'm actually in the same room with you, not a physical reality that we're shooting for today. I think Star Trek was the first one that really had that for me, where I really got that picture. And today we're not even close to that. You know, we're still talking through 3 screens. We're doing, you know, the spatial sound and the multiple cameras. We've got a little ways to go still, but I know that we're working on it. I know some other people are working on it too, and we'll get there collectively.
Yeah. The holodeck, I can't remember now. I remember watching Star Trek. My brother was watching it, of course. But did they have multiple people from different ships, like different people coming into the same holodeck, or was it just all the people at once? They went into a certain room.
All the people at once, they went into a room.
Okay.
So yeah, it wasn't. They didn't have the idea of a collaborative holodeck where you could be on your holodeck and I could be on mine, and we'd feel like we're in the same environment. They actually didn't go that far. They went just you went to the ship and went into the room, and you could be in a different environment. A little more akin to virtual reality, a little different from kind of the shared space, you know, kind of vision that we have today.
And that's almost like the 3D technology that we have kind of now, where 3D mixed with virtual, more of a collaborative sense, kind of a...
Yeah, so if you kind of take this, you know, environment and then put 3D screens here, you know, you could be able to see, it'd be like you're looking into the other room, like the table literally goes all the way around.
Right, creating that more of a depth.
Yeah, and I think that'll be what we talk about in the next segment.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you very much. And this concludes this version, or this series. But we'll go on to talk a little bit more about the past in the next video. Thanks so much for listening.